This is Kevin Messing, and he grows beans at his farm in the heart of bean country, which is in the Thumb area of Michigan. He's speaking today to other farmers and supporters at a field day in Hickory Corners.
Well, so my operation is pretty small too, so we are very family oriented. So it's family and involved in it. So I don't have any outside labor involved in that, but that's limited my ability to grow or scale too because of that.
Has anybody tried to sell you little robots to help you?
No robots yet.
Do you see a need?
Got one ready?
Maybe.
I start out in the morning. I have black beans and a fruit smoothie with yogurt, frozen fruit, and beans. Lovely way to start the day. A scoop of protein powder as well. Good till 2 o'clock without lunch. And then we always have beans in our fridge. So we cook our beans simply, but good. Pound of beans, 1 whole onion, couple cloves of garlic, tablespoon of salt. I like to throw in a lot of olive oil. I learned that from my friends at Farm Club up in Traverse City. Olive oil adds that mouthfeel and texture to them. That's awesome. And then thyme and some other herbs if you want them. Cook them like that. They're not so flavored. You can't add them to something, but they're also really good on their own. A grilled cheese with a bowl of beans is a great meal. There's a great, she's actually a doctor, Chelsea Didinger from Colorado State. A Legume a Day is her website. Great resources on cooking beans and how to cook them. The biggest thing is learning how to do it from dry. But once you learn it, it's so easy. And it is. And there's a lot of risk in it too. Even on our farm where we've grown dry beans for years, I've had several total crop failures because some heirloom beans don't handle adverse weather like more of our modern varieties do either. And I heard somebody speak at a conference one time and say, don't just set your price, know what your cost of production is and price based off of that. Hand cleaning beans for 10 years, I know that I can clean 20 pounds of a white kidney bean an hour. I can do 40 pounds of a black bean by hand in an hour. So your time is worth something. I know as farmers, we're really good at not valuing our time and saying, well, that's farming, but doing things like this, doing these specialty crops and small lots, you have to value your time and know what it actually costs you to produce them. Otherwise, it's just kind of, I don't know. It's exercise at that point. So I do direct market. That is a big challenge, cleaning, bagging, and processing. There's a lot of steps involved there, but it's been a fun crop.
So for your heirloom, growing situation, you're also cleaning yourself. So what is your equipment setup? How are you even finding the cleaning equipment for the scale that you're working on? Can you describe that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. For a very long time, we kind of did it like they did in the 30s and 40s, where we would run beans through a fanning mill and then hand sort them. And I've heard stories years ago. I've seen photos of the old Clipper bean cleaners and just rows of them in a building. And in the winter, that's what the farm wives and young kids would do. They would go and they would hand sort beans all winter to get them to market quality. And we did a lot of that. But I run them through a fanning mill. I have a destoner and a gravity table, still not fully assembled, but a traditional triple cleaning line where you have a scalper, remove your stones, and then sort by density to get your lights and your heavies out to settle on that high quality. I do now have a color sorter, and that's been a lifesaver because you can't sort color by size or density. So with light colored beans and beans that ripen unevenly and some of these heirloom beans, being able to sort by color is huge. So that's a new tool that I have. I polish beans too. A nice shiny clean bean really goes a long ways. Some of these dry beans get very dusty and dirty, and that's not something somebody wants to pour out into a pot before they cook. So a polisher goes a really long ways to take that dust off of them and give them a nice sheen.
Kevin, question on demand. So how do you forecast with all these different varieties that you're growing and all these different customers that you have what your demand looks like for these varieties so you don't end up with too much product or not enough?
That's a real challenge because part of growing the heirloom beans, my goal is to sell them as close to 1 year from harvest as possible because a fresh bean will have better color, they will cook faster, and I think they taste better. But that cooking and color experience are the two things that somebody that buys them is going to experience the most. So it's really a challenge, and I will tell you here a lot of times it's a guess. I'm going off history, how I talk about beans with chefs, and customers will influence what sells too. That's a big thing. But a lot of times it's a guess based on history and what I think might happen. And I've been wrong many times. And I also have to guess on yield. So if you get the wrong weather, I may have way not enough or too many. Or like last year, I thought I had too many, and then I found out that quality was bad and it was so dry I split a bunch. So I ended up with too few of some. I would say the more striking, mottled, different colored beans are always quite popular too. They don't always keep those when you cook them, but it does come in waves too. A Calypso bean, a nice black, white split bean were really popular, but honestly, I've sold less of those lately. But some of the less common Mexican or Central American style beans, a Mayocoba, like a big bright yellow bean that MSU has actually done some breeding on to have varieties that show better yellow color in Michigan because our environment doesn't really lend itself to having bright, vibrant colored beans in the fall because of our humidity. Those have been a really, really popular bean and have become more popular since I started growing them.